So this is Pecha Kucha 2, and I'm going to talk about the challenges of giving a speech in an online environment, which I've never really thought about before until I actually did my first Pecha Kucha one. And it is very different giving a speech online than it is giving it in person. That you have in giving a speech online as opposed to in person are two things that I think of. One is your audio feedback, and two is your visual feedback, which you don't really get when you're giving a speech online. When you're giving a speech online, it's kind of obviously hard to gauge visual feedback. You don't have an audience in front of you. You don't know if they're bored, if they're excited, and that's kind of hard to gauge how you should tailor your speech. Should you talk faster, slower? Should you be more interesting or not? Another one of your senses that are kind of limited or taken away is your audio feedback, your ability to hear yourself and to maybe hear how you speak in front of an audience, especially like in a room. Do you speak louder? Do you speak quieter? It's hard to do that in a virtual environment. Body language is another thing that is kind of taken away from you in a virtual environment. I personally like to use my body when I talk. I like to use my hands. That kind of gives me the confidence in giving a speech. Whereas when you're in a virtual environment, it's really hard to use your hands and convey that to the audience. And the last challenge I want to talk about is how you speak in person as opposed to in the virtual world. It's a lot harder to slow down, speak clearly in a virtual environment because you're not really speaking to anyone. It's kind of in a virtual space.